Hi, this is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
It is a special. Red just got fired. Emergency edition on a Wednesday. Live here in the 315. Welcome in, everybody. Well, we told you we were probably going to be here. Man, I almost hit the minute. I would have set the over-under at 9 o'clock this morning of when this was coming out. News started breaking just prior to 9. Pete Thamel and others putting it out there. Syracuse officially putting out their statements. Even Red has a quote in this article, which we'll get to within the last hour or so. So it's all out there. None of this is a surprise to any of us involved, that is for sure. We all knew the deal. We've known this was coming for a long, long time, a month or more at least. Meaningful games in March, there were not any. There were hardly any meaningful games in February this year. And I still say, sadly, for a Red, that this happened this way. Now, based on how it all happened, it had to happen this way. I don't feel sad that he lost the job based on the results. I just wished, we like Red. I wish he had done better. Is Alex Klein actually gone? Where are we? Is this breaking news? Where are we seeing this? Where are we seeing this? That's a that's a bold early move, because he's a guy that I thought could have been a bridge to the next. Syracuse and GM Alex Klein have also parted ways. John Rothstein 3 minutes ago. Okay. That's quick. That's, I get it. That's one where, who knows in which direction and where that comes from. I almost wish, if you're Alex, that maybe you hang on for a couple of weeks to see maybe if you mesh with the new staff, because he's a Syracuse grad as well, so obviously he has ties to the place beyond just Red. But I also get it, most anybody that's going to come in for the job is going to bring their own people. With the very large looming Jerry exception. With the very large looming Jerry exception, you could have seen a world where Alex stayed and worked with Jerry. That said, I liked Alex. I thought Alex did a decent enough job. You could see the difference, whether the players worked or not. We can argue about Nate George, and we'll get into all of this. The way Syracuse approached the portal last year with Alex versus the way Syracuse approached the portal the year before without Alex, the approach made 70 bajillion times more sense. Now, that was approaching with remove Alex's name. That was approaching it with a GM and approaching it without a GM. They're going to have a GM going forward. It'll just be somebody else. So, obviously Syracuse was just not quick enough to adapt on stuff like that. And Alex will be fine. He's got NBA ties and college. He'll get another gig somewhere, I would say, reasonably quickly. So, we'll get into it. Welcome in here on this Wednesday. Already a great crowd coming in. Again, if you're new here, if you joined us last night for the first time for postgame, and what a crowd we had last night, you saw perhaps the most unusual show in the history of Live in the 315. Overrun by children and dogs and all sorts of things. I promise you today the kids are at school, so if they show up during this show, something has gone horribly wrong. They have broken out of the asylum and somehow made it back home, and that would be really, really confusing, at the ages of 4 and 6 to be able to pull that off. So, not expecting that. Ollie's back there, but he's asleep right now. Maybe he'll make an appearance later on in the show today. With that, we didn't do this until a good 40 minutes in last night because, man, things were off the rails. But here we are. Time for our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu here on a WEC Wednesday. Yes, Beef on WEC is the lunch and dinner special. You can pick it up from 11, which was 7 minutes ago, until 9 o'clock at night. $8 beef on WEC. Right on the WEC. The soup du jour. Today, lobster bisque. I mentioned the bisque. There we are, Thompson Road Tavern. On the menu today, we're going to do like a broader Who's Next. Back tomorrow on our regular schedule, we'll get back into honing in on a specific potential candidates. Today, we'll talk about it in kind of more of a broad spectrum. The link, as always, is pinned top of the chat. I imagine many of you have thoughts and all of that stuff, so please go there. You can join the show at any point throughout the next hour or so. We'll see how long we keep this going here today. And yeah, just a day we all it's sad, it's bittersweet. Like, I feel bad for Red. You feel, think what you want about the guys. I feel bad for all the people that are losing their jobs. Alex Klein, Griff, like all these people. Like, there's a lot of people out of employment today, and not all of them paid nearly as well as Red. This is Thompson Road Tavern, DoorDash to San Diego. Yeah, I don't know. Type it in, San Diego Q. See if it pops up. See if it pops up. Yeah, another day closer to Portal Watch. Hang on, San Diego Q's. I had looked this up. I had done the back counting to today. Where did I put the number? We are on. Hang on. Today is the 11th. Today would be Portal Watch Day -26. Day -26. That is what would be in Portal Watch. So yeah, we're gonna. What's the plan here? What's on the menu for the show today? We're gonna figure out how we got here. We're gonna figure out where Syracuse is going to go from here in the big picture. We'll explore some candidates. I don't want to say it's definitely down to two people, but man, there are certainly two names that are getting shouted way louder than the rest right now. One of them who had the best day of his coaching career last night, as we will talk a little Jerry McNamara, of course, as well. And again, link pinned top of the chat if you would like to join the program at any point throughout our proceedings today with a live video call. That option is available to you. So I'd say it should go without saying. I don't know if it does go without saying. Bring back aircraft carrier games. Syracuse is undefeated all time on aircraft carriers. I'd like to say everyone is having the same sentiment right now. I'm sure not everyone is, but I wish it had worked out with Red. I wish it had. It didn't. It didn't. It was, in hindsight, was it obvious from the get-go? Maybe, because, I'm going to go back now. I'm going to go back to the first exhibition game in Red's coaching tenure against, I don't even know who, Damien or something. I don't know. So if it wasn't Damien, it was, Southern New Hampshire. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Some D2 school, whatever. Red's first exhibition game. And this was the first time that I really wonder, okay, this is game one. Didn't want to judge too much on game one. The problem is stuff like this didn't really improve over the years. Game one, game that doesn't count, but that was an exhibition game in which Judah Mintz had a rolled ankle or whatever, and he was hurt and didn't play. Nothing serious, but Judah didn't play in the game. Red, in an exhibition game, played J.J. Starling 40 minutes. In an exhibition game, played J.J. Starling 40 minutes. And that was kind of our first little taste that maybe Red didn't quite have what it took for the in-game management aspect of being a head coach. Now, at the time, it was also, hey, it's his first game as a head coach. It's an exhibition game. This is like, well, that was weird, but learning thing, and here we go. Unfortunately, I think there just proved to be too many things like that for Red to overcome with his head coaching ability and style over the last 3 years. We were still talking, like, what did that speak to in an exhibition game? It spoke to not quite being able to manage substitution patterns, right? We were still talking about that at the end of this year, with substitution patterns not necessarily always having rhyme nor reason. We were talking about back then. Now, it didn't quite look the same because, Judah was able to erase a lot of it himself. We were talking back then, like, all right, what is this offense? 3 years later, we're still talking about the same thing. We're talking back then, like, okay, Talking man defense. The save for the first month or so, month and a half maybe of this season, the defense was no good for 3 years. So the main thing, like the main consistent thing it felt like we did not see under Red for 3 years was improvement. None of that stuff got markedly better consistently over time. You're allowed to have issues. Like, everybody's got issues, but then you work on the issues and you fix them. Like, if Red had substitution issues and then he worked and got better at it, it's like, all right, he's learning. He's supposed to be learning. He was new to this. Like, had he showed up and known everything, that would have been bizarre. Like, how does he know how to do all this right away? It's a lot. It's a lot coming at you. Like, Jim Boeheim, very calm at it. He did it for 47 years. Like, of course he knows how to do it without really thinking about it. And that's all we had watched in our lifetimes, essentially, of Syracuse basketball. But that stuff never really got better. And then go think about what essentially is the last play, right, of the era, is that, or not the last play of the regular season, essentially, that Nate George getting off the half-court shot with 2.5 seconds left, and then just the airs out the balloon in the final 15 minutes or so in the game yesterday against SMU, when it was just clear that everything is done at that point. So, I don't know. Some people are like, well, they should have fired him earlier. No, like, if you're going to hire, I always say this, if you're going to hire the guy, unless he is an abject disaster from minute one, and Red was not an abject disaster from minute one. His best year was his first year. Let's remember that. He was not an abject disaster from minute one. It wasn't great, but it wasn't a disaster in year one. And you may now be looking, based on some factors here, who else was on that staff, which may prove important here going forward. But I always figured, you got to give him 3, right? You got to give him time. Like, if you're going to hire a guy like that who's never been a head coach before, you got to give him a minute. You don't need to give him 5 minutes. You don't need to give him 4 or 5 years. Not in 2026, not in this era, and not when it's a continuity hire and you know enough about Red behind the scenes because he was an assistant for 12 years or whatever it was. So, there we are. You didn't get the notification, huh? Strange, Kev. Come on, YouTube. You send Kev a notification. He's in green. He deserves a notification. If you'd like to be in green, like Kev is, like Kid Navy is, the $ next to the chat box is a great thing to click, and you can explore membership options starting at the low, reasonable price of just $1.99 a month. Or you could pay more just because you feel like it. You know, that's on you. We don't force anything on you here live in the 315, but glad to have you here on this Emergency Wednesday. Red has been fired broadcast. Link pinned top of the chat if you'd like to join the show vis-a-vis a live call. So is that what the record closing was, 3-12 after the BC loss? Yeah, it all just fell apart this year. It all fell apart. It was clear what needed to happen, and it has happened. Here is the article on Cuse.com with quotes. Let's read together, shall we? Headline: Syracuse parts ways with men's basketball head coach Red Autry. Semicolon. National search for next head coach underway. Blah, 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 blah. Quote, John Wildhack. Adrian first came to Syracuse as a student athlete in 1990, and this program has been a constant in his life ever since, as a player, assistant coach, associate head coach, and ultimately as a head coach. His dedication to our student athletes on and off the court never wavered through his time here, and we are grateful for his service and commitment to Orange basketball. There's also a quote in here for Red. Generally, when there's a quote in an article from somebody that got fired, means everything is going nice out the door with whatever payments and such are owed. Quote from Red: It has been an honor to coach at my alma mater. I want to thank Chancellor Siferud, John Wildhack, Jim Boeheim, my team, and my staff for their support. Blah, 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 blah. End of the article. Here we go. Syracuse University is committed to returning men's basketball to the national prominence this program has long represented. The university will conduct a thorough and expedient search for the program's next head coach. Quote, John Wildhack: We are going to move quickly and with purpose. This is one of the most storied programs in college basketball, and we intend to hire a proven winner who will build on that legacy. We are looking for a coach who can recruit at the highest level, develop players, and compete for championships, conference, and national. Syracuse fans deserve nothing less, and that is exactly what we are going to deliver. Period. End quote. End article. So there we are. And then, so that's from John Wildhack, who we already know is on the way out. Where is Mr. Thamble's tweet from this morning, which says essentially what we've all been postulating this whole time. Pete Thamble's already moved on to firing the FIU coach. All right, here's Pete's tweet from this morning. Blah, 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 blah. Syracuse has fired Adrian Autry. Autry missed the NCAA tournament in all 3 seasons. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the pertinent information. The plan has been for current AD John Wildhack to fire Autry, and then the incoming AD to make the next hire. So we still don't officially have a new AD. The wind couldn't be blowing stronger for it happening sooner than later. My guess at the moment is Nick Carparelli. Like, his name is just popping around too much to be otherwise, unless Heather Lyke somehow has saved her candidacy, which would be wild. I don't know if I'm totally sold on Carparelli either, but it sounds. I haven't heard any other names that are legitimately in the mix. Like, if they're hiring somebody else by like Monday, that's we're going to be needing to hear some names sooner than later. So all of that is going on. And then to your point in the chat, does that have they already kind of hired Brian Hodgson from USF? Who'll bring all his people with him? Or did last night in Atlantic City? You know, you never know. Some people go to AC for the night and they change their whole lives. Not generally in a good way, but it can happen. Did last night in Atlantic City change the scope of things a little bit with Jerry McNamara, favored son, winning the MAC championship with Siena and knocking off the top seed Merrimack? So now Jerry McNamara, whatever his next job will be, Syracuse or otherwise this year or another time, will be going to that job having coached in the NCAA tournament. And I'll say this, like, what I don't know if it were Jerry, wouldn't he keep Klein? I don't know. Like, technically, Jerry and Klein did not overlap here during Red's tenure. Obviously, Jerry would have been here as an assistant when Alex was, at Syracuse back in the day. I don't know. It's entirely possible because it didn't really specify. All Rothstein's reporting is that Alex Klein's like not with the program anymore. That could be Alex just being like, hey, if this is over, I want out because I'm a guy with options. So we don't know on that. Jerry winning last night. How many did you, show of hands, how many of you watched the game? Like, we were doing the post-game show here. That thing was wild. So we did the post-game show here. I kept ACC Network on, it's a meaningless game, but Virginia Tech Wake Forest turned into an interesting game. That went overtime, so I had the TV on. I'm like, well, I'll watch the end of this, and then flip over to Jerry. So that game ended. I watched the tail end of the first half, then the second half. And, Jerry and the Saints, they built like a 15-point lead, and then it almost fell away, and then they closed it out, and they won by 10 or so, knocking off Merrimack. It was a phenomenal defensive performance by Jerry's team last night. And, heck, I've mentioned this before. I grew up literally, not figuratively, literally, depending on, I think, the 2 stoplights maybe between my house and campus, 5 minutes away from Siena. I suppose if you catch the light, it might be slightly longer. So I've always been very aware of Siena basketball for a very, very long time. And in the Capital Region, it was always great fun when Siena was good. Like, man, it was just a buzz. Like, when Siena was good in March and they were like a buzz. There was a buzz when the conference tournament for the MAC was in Albany, which back in the day it was not every year, but often. There was a buzz. It was fun. Like, Siena basketball, like, it's obviously not Syracuse, but in the area, when they're good, it's fun. It's a very fun thing. Like, when Siena's good, it's not just happenstance. It's a thing. So, like, this is a thing going on in the Albany area right now with Jerry. And I don't know. I felt like, I don't know about you watching it last night. The 20th anniversary of Jerry's run, because God, we're old, in the '06 Big East tournament. Yesterday was the 20th anniversary of the Georgetown game. The Jerry just slamming his hands on the floor game. The Devo layup at the end of the game. You know the game. You all know the damn game. We know all 4 games. We know them like the back of our hand. We know the Cincinnati shot. We know the UConn shot. We know the Georgetown game. We know beating Pittsburgh for the title. We know the whole thing. Today is the 20th year anniversary of beating Pittsburgh for the championship and winning that magical ring down in the Garden for the Big East tournament, which was just fantastic. A fantastic way to end his career. I don't choose to remember the Texas A&M loss of the tournament as the end of Jerry's career. That game didn't count. So, like, I think Jerry is a fascinating case. Jerry is a fascinating case because, like, look at all of, and for all the people that say, oh, get it out of the family and all that, I get why people are frustrated with that. But Jerry did the one thing that Hop didn't do and that Red didn't do. Like, this was Hop was the heir to the throne, then it became Red. And I get that Hop left for Washington. What Hop never did, he poked around at it, but he never did it. He might have done it had he been offered the Bonaventure job the one time, but he never did it. Hop never left for the mid-major job to cut his teeth as a lower-level head coach with the goal of then coming back. Red never did that, never left for the lower-level head coaching job with the goal of coming back or moving up the ranks. Now, Jerry didn't do it under Boeheim, that's true, but Jerry did it. After year 1 of Red, being the associate head coach for Red, Jerry left. He took now Siena's a lower-level job, but when you win at Siena, you get big-time jobs. When you win at Siena, you get big-time jobs. Fran McCaffrey being the most recent, who was the most recent head coach to take Siena to the tournament in 2010, and then had a long, successful tenure at Iowa for more than a decade. So Jerry left, took over a 4-win team, and in year 2, he's going to the tournament. So the question is, if Jerry was not a Syracuse person, would he be in the mix? Because coaches in Jerry's position, youngish, he's barely 40, rising, like his name's out there, they get in the mix for jobs. What I do wonder is, will Jerry, if not Syracuse, be in the mix for other high-level jobs? Now, if I am Jerry, I stay as far the hell away from Boston College as possible. That's career suicide. But, you know, like if I'm BC, like you got to kick the tires on that. Does a school like Pittsburgh sniff around a Jerry McNamara? I don't know. That's going to be interesting coming up. Does a Providence sniff around a Jerry McNamara? Who does? And the good news for Jerry is you can stay at Siena for 2, 4, whatever more years. You mentioned their NIL, their budget. Siena's numbers are always going to be fiscally toward the top of the league. There's no good reason Jerry can't keep succeeding in the MAC and keep himself in the mix for future jobs and the whole thing. So, I don't know. Like, the Jerry thing, I think, becomes interesting here based on what happened yesterday. And you look at it from a Syracuse perspective. Of the coaches, there would be nothing better than Jerry being a successful Syracuse head coach. There would be nothing worse than Jerry being a fired Syracuse head coach. That would be emotionally devastating. Jerry being a fired Syracuse head coach. Like, we can see how rough it's been here for Autry. Jerry is perhaps, maybe not even perhaps, the most popular player in the history of Syracuse. If he's not the most, he's certainly on the short list. Could you imagine Jerry coming here and then it being just like Red? And then having to fire Jerry in 3 or 4 years? Whew. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. If Jerry comes here and succeeds, wow. That is extra special. I felt emotion watching Siena win last night because of Jerry. We all love Jerry. Everyone loves Jerry. You don't like Jerry, like what the hell? That doesn't mean he should be the next head coach, but it's a factor. The emotional factor on that with Syracuse fans is real. People's love of him is real. So yeah, I don't know. But I think after last night, I think he's got to be in the mix. Today, right now, this second, and I've said this now for weeks, if I had to place a bet, I'm going to bet that Brian Hodgson is the next coach. If I had to place a bet, I'm going to bet that Brian Hodgson is the next coach. Corey McRae? Who's Corey McRae? I don't know Corey McRae. Should I know Corey McRae? Should he be? He's the associate head coach of Florida. All right, so he actually could fit in the kind of week we're doing. Like we talked about that with Kamani Young. Would you want to go with a guy that is a high level assistant at a winning team? This guy's never been a head coach. He's been, started off he played at Mercer, grad assistant, Florida State way back in the early 2000s, assistant coach at Chipola College, which is a junior college in Florida that's kind of like a talent factory, assistant coach at Mercer, assistant coach at UCLA, assistant coach at LSU, assistant coach at Mississippi State, now an assistant coach at Florida. He's very similar to Kamani Young. He's similar to the guy we'll talk about tomorrow when we talk about high-level assistant coaches. Florida won the national championship last year, and they're going to be positioned well to go for back-to-back again this season. I just don't think Syracuse is in position right now to hire somebody that has not been a head coach. I just don't think you're in position right now to do somebody that's not been a head coach. Yeah, like Hodgson's name has been out there for a minute. Hodgson was the top assistant at Alabama when Alabama got good with Nate Oates. He went to Arkansas State the last 2 years, didn't make the tournament, but he won a lot of games. They were they in the NIT both years, something like that. And now he's positioned at USF to make the tournament this year. It seems almost regardless if they win the league. Is that what's the American tournament up to? I think it's going on right now. They won the regular season in the league, so I'd say probably more likely. Where are my net rankings? Where are my net rankings at? I need some net rankings. I need to look up USF in the net rankings. Very important. We don't need to look up Siena in the net rankings. We can, though, I suppose. USF. For real, I got to do South Florida? Nobody calls them that. South Fla is 48 in the net rankings. Yeah. Won the regular season in the American. Are they solidly in? Where's Lenardi at? Hang on. We need scores. I need the American. The American, where are we at in that tournament? Tournament just starting today? What kind of weird turn? Oh, is this a? This is one of the bizarre tournaments where you get like crazy buys. USF has a bye to the semifinals of the tournament on Saturday. 2 teams have a bye. Oh, this is one of those crazy bracket tournaments. All right, so USF doesn't play till Saturday at 3 o'clock in Birmingham, Alabama. So there is that. I would presume they're in the tournament. Where's Lenardi at? Give me a Lenardi. That's a different tab here. Lenardi. Show me you. I mean, USF's going to be in this bracket no matter what because they are currently the champion of. Well, actually, he's got South Florida, USF. He's got them as a 12 seed right now. So I guess they are not. They are not solidly in the tournament. So it's very possible that, like Brian Hodgson, you'd be hiring a guy that quite literally has never made the tournament if they don't if they don't make it. Not that necessarily matters. He clearly still knows what he's doing. I'd say at the moment, like right now, if you told me the next Syracuse head coach is somebody other than Brian Hodgson and or Jerry, I would be surprised, and I would make Hodgson a decent favorite over Jerry right now. We'll get more into that when we delve into our who's next coming up. But as always, link pin top of the chat if you would like to join the show. We've got one now, two lining up for us to get to here on this Wednesday. Let's first start with our guy Mike, who Mike normally in Connecticut. Now Mike is not in Connecticut. What's up, Mike? Not in Connecticut currently.
So it's now it's finally here. And I'm not someone who believes everything you read. Like the Heather article last Saturday, which people were going nuts. Like, why did Syracuse.com do it? It was on that. But I can't help in reading Wildhack's statement this morning that he's going to hire a proven winner.
Yeah.
And so right away, does that knock out a Hopkins? Because what the unofficial chatter has been, it's a hoe? Is it Hodgson or Hopkins? It seems to knock him out. And then with GMAC, is he a proven winner? And again, I'm doing the opposite of what I believe in, which is like reading things taken at face value. But that to me, one, when you said proven winner, I don't think an assistant coach is a proven winner.
No, I did read that, Mike, a little bit though. Like he also mentioned like national champion there. Like if you want to tailor what was in that quote to Jerry, I could easily do that. Jerry, I was a player, but Jerry has won the conference tournament as a player twice, won the national title as a player once, and now has won a conference tournament as a head coach. You could very easily call Jerry a proven winner if that's what you're feeling like. Same with Hodgson. Yeah. Like he's only won as a head coach, though he's not made the tournament yet.
I mean, you could play that like I won my fantasy league 2 out of 3 years, proven winner. It feels to me when you're hiring a head coach, it feels like proven winner is a head coach, but that you just widen the aperture. I think the interesting thing is Alex Klein leaving too, and it looks like
surprised me.
He's still on the website, so maybe that was the unexpected part because Autry's gone, but Klein's no dummy. He's probably back in the NBA with the Pelicans or the Knicks any minute now. But
yeah,
if you take the other side, that is in all the resources that maybe Syracuse basketball hasn't had, and we had the Boeheim discount. You look at South Florida's support staff. South Florida has 15 people between assistants and everything dedicated to the basketball team. We have 12.
Yeah.
South Florida has 15 people. We have 12. Mm-hmm. So you could also maybe see, well, maybe Klein, there's like a GM already lined up with a new guy. I mean, if it was South Florida, I think they've actually just lost their GM to Auburn football. But we could be on the doorstep, not only a head coach, but kind of like Fran Brown-esque. We could be seeing an overhaul that we may not have Duke's bench where you need almost a different row, but we could be seeing a hell of a lot more titles we haven't seen in Syracuse basketball in some time.
Yeah, Duke basketball has second row seating on the staff. I think regardless of the hire that's going to happen, because the way Syracuse seems to operate is they are loath to extend the staffs like that of coaches that are already there. like they just don't do it quick. They didn't do it for Dino, and it took a long time for Red to get all of this stuff. But look at Fran. Fran showed up, and all of a sudden there was recruiting people falling out of trees. They had assistant coaches and assistants to the assistants and assistants to them in like a week and a half. The same thing's about to happen to men's basketball. For one, it's just the way of the world right now, and you're technically allowed 6 assistant coaches. The Orange were just doubling up on positions, sort of calling their director of ops also an assistant and stuff. Like that's going to change. Those are all going to be separate positions going forward, I presume. Like this is just generally what seems to happen in Syracuse, Mike, is new coach, at least for a little while, gets the open pocketbook to a reasonable extent and gets what they want. And be it Hodgson, or I'd say even if it's Jerry or something, he's going to be able to come in with a little bit of a mandate, whomever it is, to get that stuff. And people have to know that that's just the way of the world right now. It's just the way it is. I know we didn't like to hear Red complaining about it, but Red also wasn't wrong. I don't know if he would have utilized it correctly, but he wasn't wrong about those facts.
No, but Red didn't know how.
Right.
Dino didn't know how. At the end of the day, it's like ultimately it was on them. And when you grow up in a certain system, it's what you know. It just didn't know on that side. On your comment on GMAC, I think if GMAC were to be hired, I'd be more Hodgson or somebody else, not GMAC, have him get more experience. But if GMAC came in now and say he failed and you have to fire him, I, I don't think it's the local legend. Oh my God. I think it's, oh my God, Syracuse basketball can't be saved. We'll never see the 80s and 90s. So I think being a degree removed doesn't put as much pressure on wherever it comes. But, and listen, GMAC's done a great job. I don't know if you saw his presser last week, but I think he made a shot towards Red in a way. And he's like, my players listen to me and they're all attentive. And that was right after an Autry press conference where like, I can't get them to listen. So, but it smells like this. If I'm taking the word proven, that we're going to see like in a maybe a more established head coach. Although Hodgson only has one more year of head coaching experience.
I do wonder, Mike, and the one thing we really, haven't considered, or people have told us, oh, go get Pitino, or go get, go get any of these recent retired coaches that have won a national championship. Go get Jay Wright or any of these guys. Like, they're not going to get any of those guys. I do wonder, is there somebody behind the scenes that is a major level head coach right now that they're trying to take a swing at? I just don't have a good name to put with it, is the thing. Like, at some point, like, do you at least try to line up some donor money and go out and say we're Syracuse and try to make a big swing at I don't even know who it would be, but go find a proven winner that has won at a major school and at least have a conversation. The problem is I don't know about you, Mike. I don't know who that would be. I think about like a couple of years ago, like Eric Musselman had all that success at Arkansas, and then USC came in with just a pile of money and they took him. And then Arkansas was like, hey, we have a pile of money, and they took Calipari. Like, big schools are doing that these days. I know Syracuse has the financial wherewithal to do it, but that would make me intrigued, right? If Syracuse goes out and says, hey, we got a big stick too, and starts swinging it around, and it's not just Hodgson, it's not just Jerry, and they're in the market for whatever a proven winner looks like, I think that would be a fascinating way for this to turn also.
Well, I think the reality of that, if that were the case, that's probably already been floated, because I think Haney was essentially elected in December. He seems to be much more sports oriented than his predecessor.
Hard not to be.
And Lobdell, as much as he loves having his kid on the team, and other donors are probably like, we need to win. And knowing a couple of the board trustees were at a Dallas meeting of 15 schools talking about the future of sports, there could have been a bot member that's doing that. I mean, the scary thing is like who's running what, because chancellor, we don't have the AD situation is not settled on that, but I would think that had already been floated by now.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I haven't heard anything like that, so either it got floated behind the scenes quietly and was a dead end, or it didn't. And because the one obvious tie that we all keep talking about, and it's a very, like, it's slap you in the face obvious, is the Lally's tie with Brian Hodgson at USF. And it's just, like, you talk about a connect the dots. It's a sheet of dots. There's only 2 dots. It's the easiest connect the dots of all time. You don't got to go around the page like this. It's a straight line, and it's easy, and it's simple, and it makes sense. Sometimes the thing that makes sense is the right answer. Hey, if you're going to suddenly get basketball NIL support from your biggest football donor, okay, like does that auto get somebody to the job? No. But is that a significant factor? Absolutely, that's a significant. In 2026, it's a massive factor.
Yeah, but I mean, the proven winner, think about it. I mean, I have people like Jay Wright. Jim Boeheim still roams the halls. There is no way like a legend's going to come here. Pitino's not going to come here and everything. So
like Jay Wright is actually retired. He's not coaching. He's like let him. He's not even doing TV this spring. He's like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm good. He's out.
Yeah, but he's there, and no one's going to come in. He was literally at the game like this week. Like he lives in Skinny Atlas. It's like he didn't move away, kind of thing. So whereas Hodgson, and I know he didn't like his beat up players thing. Man, he's got some Fran Brown kind of stuff.
He does.
He's afraid of nothing. And he took over a program where the coach suddenly died. And so he had to go into a situation. So this guy gives no Fs on that side of it. And from what I know, it's like he's compelling. But to your point, is there a mystery X? Maybe. But I don't think you're going to get a legend to come to the 315 with a legend that is not far removed from his 47 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And when you say like Jim Boeheim roams the halls, like literally, that's a figurative expression. No, Jim's like in the building, just walking around sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there goes Jim Boeheim.
Just a tip for the show. It feels like today's show needs a little bit more pandemonium. So if you can get some kids running around and trying to take the mic, that just that adds a little spice to it. But anyway.
I'd say currently the dog is asleep and the kids are at school, so we'll have to create our own our own mischief today, Mike.
All right.
Good to see
Be
you,
well,
man.
Brian.
There is our guy, Mike in Connecticut, who's not currently in Connecticut. He is elsewhere. Another caller on the line again. Link pinned top of the chat if you would like to join the show. As let's get our next guy on, who is our friend Matt Cavendo. What's up, Matty?
Hey, Brian.
Thank you for waiting. What's going on, man?
I really impressed with Sienna right now. And I know we just had crazy news and we'll talk about that, but watching them, their centers were productive.
Yep.
Their forwards were productive, their guards were productive, all backed by a guard coach, a forward coach, a center coach, and watching I forgot the kid's name, the center. He was doing a Renzi Anawaku moves. I don't know if
Like
you
very
caught that.
that caught my attention. I mean, for those that don't know, Arinze's there on their staff. Like his game, like obviously Arinze was better than Sienna's center, but like you could see a lot of like, oh man, he's like the drop step, the kind of the moves that Arinze would make. I'm like, I think I know where he learned that stuff.
I was impressed. And does Jerry have a little Cinderella run in him? I hope so. I hope so.
You know, Jerry's problem here is going to be where is Sienna in the net? I think they are going to get a hang on, I spelled Sienna wrong. Siena. Sienna's 182 in the net. Like my guess is their profiling is like a 14 or a 15 seed probably.
Sure.
So you're gonna play
First four in.
You're gonna play somebody really good. You're gonna. I mean, it's very possible you're playing like a Florida or a UConn or a, an Iowa State or something like that. So I think it's possible that Sienna just gets athletically overwhelmed, depending on their matchup. But I hope so. Like for Jerry's case, I just hope it's not a get run out of the building case, because that can easily happen to you. Like the Sienna teams that had success in the tournament with McCaffrey. Like the year they did, they were an 8 seed, I think, or a 9 seed when they made their little run to, was it the Sweet 16, whatever they did. But yeah, I just don't think because of the MAC and all that they're going to get a very good seed. But you never know. Somebody's got to be Cinderella. Like I do a Sweet 16, probably not. But can they hang in? And they got one like really good player. Right, the kid from Fulton, Gavin Doty, who, is he an athletic stud? No, but man, that dude's a gamer. And if you told me he goes out and has a big game, like he's not going to be afraid of the moment, right? If you told me Doty goes out and tosses 20 in a first round game, I wouldn't be surprised.
Gavin Doty's a player.
Yeah,
he's a player. Now, does his game translate well to the ACC?
Yeah, that's the question, because you look it up. Like at Sienna, he's 6'5". At least that's what he's listed at. In the MAC, that is a very big guard. I don't even know if he's playing guard or small forward for them. At Syracuse, and he's also not the biggest guy. Like at Syracuse, he's probably the same size as JJ. I would take, give or take, at least height wise. That said, Jerry, I don't know if you kept the TV on last night. Gavendo, after the Sienna game, they went to whatever their post-game show was, and then Jerry got in the headset with the studio people for a rather lengthy interview. It might have been close to 10 minutes, and he was asked about Doty, who's from Fulton, and he said, I have never coached a player who plays as hard as Gavin, and I never will after this. Nobody goes after it as hard as that guy. So I'll say this, if you're Jerry and you come here, and that guy wants a taste of the big time, and for him it would be coming back home, I'd say that's something you take a shot on, because, why not? Why not?
There's been a lot of rumblings that Gavin does want to play in Orange. I've heard that. That's his dream school. He grew up here. He went to the games here. He idolized Jerry and or whoever, right? So if it happens, good for him.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and if he and Jerry stay at Sienna for 2 more years and have a nice run here and make a few tournaments, that's a great story too. That's a great story too.
Now, rest in peace, Red's career.
Yes,
I appreciate Red as far as a player, coach, friend, great guy. Didn't work out. Sorry to see. Happy that we're moving on to greener pastures, right? So, who are we keeping on that staff, did anything? I mean, all the coaches. What happens?
My guess is the answer will be
Right.
nobody.
Right.
There to the first part of the question, like, has there been an announcement about any of them? No. I honestly, I do not know the contract status of any of the assistants. Usually they have shorter term contracts than the head coach does. Realistically, they'll all be gone. Like, the only one, like, say it was Jerry, the only one that actually really has ties to Jerry is Griff. I get there would have been an overlap of 1 year, I guess, with some of the staff, but I think it's a start over. Like, if it's a Hodgson or somebody, like, it's a complete clear
You're
out
getting yeah
and bring
yeah.
in the whole new crew. Like, somebody you'd feel bad for, and obviously you don't know about, not a coach, but
Pete
yeah, Pete
Corsiniti.
Cordisaniti, who's the
Yeah.
director of ops, has been and was Jim's director of ops at the end, and has been here a long time.
Yeah.
Like, that is not necessarily a position that you need to bring with. That doesn't need to be a basketball position if you can fill out the staff around it. So he's a guy you talk about, like, the actual ops directing part of the job. He does a very nice job of it. Like, the trains run on time with the basketball team, and that's not a $1 million job or anything. That's one where you'd feel bad. His wife, I believe, also works for the Boeheim Foundation. Blah 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 blah. So there's a lot
Right.
of things that go into that. But the assistant coaches, that's a job where I know Griff's been here a long time. That's a job
good
where
with it.
those jobs, you generally don't last very long in one place, and I think they're all gone.
Yeah. And realistically, we should have had a similar system like Jerry has at Siena of having a guard coach, a forward coach, a center coach, and put them all together, and you have a respectable basketball team.
Yep.
So we didn't have that. And if we had the opportunity to have two more coaches on staff and we didn't fill those positions with somebody like a Tim O'Toole, shame on them. If they didn't give them permission to put somebody else on the bench, shame on the university, shame on the athletic director.
Yeah, that's
You
where
know?
I like, I don't blame Red for that. I'm gonna guess there is a 0% chance that they told Red he could hire somebody and he's like, nah, we're good. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So, because when they upped the number of assistants you could have from 3 to 6, basically what they did is, I think technically Pete Corsiniti is also an assistant coach now, and Alex
For the last year.
yeah,
right,
like
for the
Alex
last year.
Klein is technically allowed to be on court and stuff like that. They didn't add more coaches; they just allowed the other people already on staff to be able to do the stuff that technically you're allowed to do as a coach. I'm going to imagine the next head coach of Syracuse, like, especially if you're new to it, like, you're going to come in and that's got to be, why would you take the job if that's not part of it? Like, if I'm Brian Hodgson and you're saying you can't have all that, don't take the job. Like, then you're not, it's not a fair fight. Like, then from day one you're not getting the financial commitment. So my guess, like, if it's Hodgson, he's going to get the full smash, and they will have, all the assistants. They'll have a GM. They'll have a strength, the strength coach. They'll have all that stuff, and it'll be a much fuller, more robust staff next year than it was this year.
Well, that guy at Siena is making a good claim for himself, isn't
Man,
he?
oh man, I'd say, like, I had kind of written Jerry off based on where the way the wind was blowing within the last month. Dude's back in the mix now. Like,
Bro, I
I'm not
love
saying he
seeing him
should
on the
get.
sidelines. I
Yeah.
love seeing him on the sidelines like that. Look,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I felt it. Like, we all love Jerry. Like, it's one where, should he be the next head coach? I don't know. But if you're telling me the next head coach will fix Syracuse basketball, if I knew the answer was yes, then I want it to be Jerry. But man, Jerry failing as Syracuse head coach would be devastating. That would hurt deep inside in a way that I don't think it even hurts for Red.
No, I can't even think of that.
Yeah, like, I don't want to.
Can't even think of that.
Like, it's a massive risk reward situation with Jerry, but good for them. I hope he does well in the tournament. All right, Cavendo, good as always to chat. There he goes, our guy.
Go Saints.
There we go. Yeah, go Siena. Wear your green coming up. St. Patrick's Day parade also this weekend. All right, who do we got? Who do we got next on the line? Again, link pin top of the chat. As always, it is a fantasy analyst to the stars and our friend in the car. One Brian Drake. What's up, Brian?
Well, sitting here in a Taco Bell parking lot in Clay,
Ooh.
it's a beautiful day for Syracuse. as we move out of the Adrian Autry. I just finished watching Requiem for the Big East this morning.
Fantastic
I
documentary.
started it last night, and I recommend all Syracuse fans go and watch that, just to remember the good old days and kind of think of what we could have going forward. But a couple things, Brian. Now, you and I have texted back and forth on these things. Let's start with Jerry McNamara. And I have put out there, if you don't sign Jerry McNamara now, you may not get him. And I've had some pushback on that. That's ridiculous. What are you talking about? Here's where I'm going with that. So say Syracuse hires Hodgson, whoever. He's here for, let's give him 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay? They make a tournament, great. They flams out for 5 years. Jerry McNamara will not be the Siena coach 5 years from now.
Probably
not on the trajectory he's on. So he's going to go at some point, maybe after this year, maybe after the following year, and he's going to go to a bigger program. It only takes one major conference program to take a shot on Jerry, and he's off to the races with those guys. And people can say, oh, he'll always take Syracuse's call and blah, blah, blah. You don't know that. What if he gets a job at Texas? What if he gets a job, a low-end, another ACC school? You and I noted, what if he gets that Pittsburgh job?
Yeah.
He's a Scranton kid, remember. How would Syracuse fans live with themselves if Jerry McNamara turned around Pittsburgh and made them into a contender, okay? And now people say, I want to get away from the Boeheim tree and all that. I do too. I get it. But, I mean, if you think McNamara is going to be a guy, you kind of got to take a shot at him, right? He's got to get an interview. I don't care that he's only coached there for a year. He's got to get an interview.
Like, if I'm, and again, like, who's actually running the ship here? Like, I know John Wildhack had all the quotes here is whomever the next AD, the board, I don't know. Like, here, like, when I talk to Jerry, like, they all know Jerry. We know Jerry. I like Jerry's a good dude. Red's a good dude, but, like Red and Jerry both actually rejoined the staff, like, in the same season. So they were both around for a really long time. I still can't believe we're 20 years removed from that 06 Big East tournament. They mentioned that to Jerry last night post game. He's like, man, like, you can see it in Jerry as well, that he also realized that he is part of the group that is old now. But you have to interview Jerry. Not interviewing Jerry at this point is a disservice to him and what he has accomplished here in the last couple of years. What I am asking Jerry here is, okay, you were here. Like, you saw how it went wrong at the end of gym. You were actually here for the best year of Red, but you saw what went wrong. Tell me what went wrong. Tell me why it went wrong, and tell me what you would have done different and what you will do different. Like, Jerry can coach. I want to hear that. The other thing with Jerry, I want to know this. Like, the ties with Brian Hodgson, right? Like, directly to the Lallies, that's a big money tie.
Sure.
Like, you think donors won't like Jerry? Everyone likes Jerry. I want to know how much money coming in for NIL would come in specific to Jerry, whether Jerry knows the answer or whether people have called around and figured that out. Because I think the tie of Jerry potentially would bring in some money just because people like Jerry McNamara. So, like, I think that's a balance. Like, all right, Hodgson, you got the Lallies. How much money are you bringing? Jerry, you're Jerry. How much money is that bringing? Because one of Jerry's biggest knocks, right, when he was his assistant, is that he couldn't nab the biggest recruits. Like, his biggest recruits, he kept losing to Duke and Kentucky and whatever. That was pre-NIL. Now, if you gave Jerry NIL, does that change? Those are the main questions I want to know. The questions I asked Jerry are not really as much about the basketball. I know he knows basketball. I watched the game last night. Like, that was a well-coached team. I know that. So, I don't know. I don't want to see Jerry fail as Syracuse head coach. But to your point, Jerry succeeding as the head coach of a team that plays against Syracuse, holy crap, that would be devastating.
Yeah, and also, by the way, I mean, if you watched that game last night, Siena ran more offensive plays than Syracuse had in a half than Syracuse did all season. But the other thing, the news that broke today about the GM Klein getting the boot, and I've been tweeting about that for weeks, ever since we've known that Red's going to be out. And I said, why aren't more people talking about the GM? This roster he put together with this newfound money that they never had before for basketball. Let's be honest, this was a bad roster. Okay, you had a number of players who, for the most part, were either freshmen or guys who barely played any minutes at major D1 schools, save for the point guard who can't shoot himself. I mean, really, Nate Kings is kind of the only really like ready-made player on that roster.
Yeah.
And he was really hit or miss. He came on down the stretch, and I'd love to see him back next year. But when you look at, you're banking on Donnie Freeman, who's, lost in space and always hurt. William Kyle, who played barely any minutes at UCLA. The bench depth was 2 freshmen you were counting on, and by the end of the season, you couldn't count on them at all. Like, this was a really poorly constructed roster. So I know the new AD and the coach are going to want their own guys. So that makes sense to bring in a new GM. But I'm surprised more people haven't been talking about just how bad this roster really was, and how I don't think Klein did a great job with the new resources he was handed this year.
I find it, judging Alex, because I find it tough, because obviously from a Syracuse perspective, we're comparing what Alex did to what literally nobody did, because there was not a GM before him. He did a much better job than nobody. Because I want you go back and look at the Eddie Lampkin and all that year. The entire process going into last season felt like just panic. Something was on fire, running around. Nobody, it was chickens with their heads cut off. What I really liked this last offseason, it felt extremely organized. And for that, I gave all the credit to Alex, because what's different? To your point, but why wouldn't any other GM also do the same thing, right? Any good GM is going to keep it organized. So, I don't think I'd be as harsh on Alex as you were. I don't know if he was let go or if he let himself go. That's not clear, because I think he's a guy that obviously also has options at the NBA level, and I'm sure he'll be fine. Yeah. Does it also say that that maybe you're going Hodgson and he's got his whole crew, and that it's just what's the point? Get out of Dodge. I don't know. I don't put it all at his feet, but I think just what we mainly learned is you need that position. And you need that position to be up and running so you can do the portal smoothly. And if you don't succeed in the portal, you will lose. We know all that. So whoever has that job next, they are going to have to hit the ground, not running, sprinting.
You're going to have to replace. Yeah. Let's be honest. If there's 12 players on the roster, they're going to have to replace 10 guys at least.
Probably. Yeah.
The only guys you can really see coming back is Anthony, because he's got the post standard tattooed on his arm. You look kind of foolish going somewhere else, but it wouldn't shock me if he left. Outside of Anthony, to me, everybody on that, and Anthony's very replaceable as well. But this is a lineup full of very replacement level Division I players that you can go in the portal and find.
Yeah, I could see Sadiq staying given the right circumstance. Donnie specifically is interesting only because Hodgson recruited him to Alabama, so there is a pre-existing relationship. It's very possible if the guy is Hodgson, he might come in and say, I recruited that dude. I believe in that dude. I know how to get him to play the way he should. I don't know if he's right or not on that. I don't. Who knows with Donnie if anyone's capable of tapping into that correctly. We all know the talent is there. And then, the deeper parts of the bench, who the hell knows? Nate Kings, I'd love to keep Nate Kings for another year. If he gets another year, I just keep assuming he will. That said, I just also keep assuming Nate Kings is going to have options, and those options will include really good, deep-pocketed teams. And, if you told me he's at Louisville next year, I'd believe that. It's going to be fascinating, Bri. This next month is going to be so beyond fascinating. The tournament's going to happen. That's going to be great, and we'll all watch because we do. But Syracuse, this is going to be the most interesting month of Syracuse basketball in which no basketball was played ever. Period. Full stop.
No, and it's great for shows like this, man. So keep up the great work. My Taco Bell's getting cold over here.
What'd you order? What do you got? What
did I get? I went with the number 8. This is a chicken burrito and a beef soft taco.
Okay.
With a cherry Pepsi to go along with the Red Bull I'm drinking.
All right.
Because I'm driving to Binghamton. So
okay. So you're ready to roll. You're ready to roll. There we go.
The life of a salesman, just working in and out of the car.
There we go. All right, Brian. Good to see you, man.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
There he is, our guy Brian Drake. If you need any fantasy football, I suppose we could have hit him on NFL free agency and people changing teams, but you know we got a lot of other things. Another time we will have our guy Brian on for that. Yeah, Big Tuna. If Donnie came back and stayed, like that scenario exists. That scenario exists, right? I never hit the who's next open, and we're an hour in. I think we're probably past it by now. Again, link pinned top of the chat if you'd like to join the shows. Yeah, Big Tuna. Listen to Big Tuna. Everyone likes stuff and do that. Like the YouTube algorithm, like if people are liking it when it's live, it's just out there, and people are out there grabbing it. If you're new here, or if you're new as of last night, again, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to support the channel. Just subscribing supports the channel significantly. YouTube likes people with more subscribers. We picked up a lot yesterday. We are fast approaching 700. If we haven't got there during this show, should we live check, see what we're at? 694 at this exact second. So if 6 of you are here that haven't subscribed yet, we could be at 700 by the end of the program here today. And if not required, but it's always good to hit that $sign next to the chat box. You can highlight your messages, or you can become a member and set it and forget it, and become a member of the channel and the show, and financially support things in that way. So that is always good as well. And if you'd like to join the show, like Brian and Gavendo and Mike, who was not in Connecticut today, all did. The link is pinned top of the chat. So all of those things. People keep asking, like, who's going to be on the roster next year? I don't know. I have zero clue. Because if you subscribe to the theory that this year's roster had more talent than their accomplishments look like, then if you are the next head coach and come in and say, I am a better head coach than the previous guy, I can take these guys and win games, then you will probably spend some of your time trying to retain some of them, so you don't have to bring in as many new people. You could also easily come in and say, that did not work, we don't need that anymore, and just clean house on a lot of things. Like, if you're the next head coach, how do you come in and have an opinion on Luke Fennell? Like, I still think there's an intriguing 4-year college basketball player buried inside Luke Fennell. I don't think at this point it will happen at Syracuse, but, like, can you as the new head coach ponder that in the span of a few weeks and decide whether or not he's worth trying to keep him? I don't know. The Cayenne thing, I think, is fascinating for a lot of reasons. Sadiq, I still say I would like Sadiq back just because I like the cut of his jib. I think he's going to be a really good college basketball player at some point. Can we get a psychic? Do you have a psychic available? Oh, just think. Where's Kreskin? Hire John Beeline for 3 years? What's John now, like 72, 73? You want to talk? Here, let me take your, Matt NY, let me take your theory next level. Let me take your theory next level. If you hire, this will not happen. But, all right, hire John Beeline for a few years to stabilize the program. Obviously, he was a fantastic college basketball coach. Lemoyne did really well at West Virginia, then went to Michigan and did really, really well toward the end of his career before he took the money from the Cavaliers or something and was just an Pistons? I don't remember where he was. He was an atrocious failure in the NBA. Should never have been an NBA coach, and he was gone like in a week. Anyway, speaking of keep it in the family, John Beeline's son, not that long ago, was one of the fast-rising superstars. Patrick Beeline was on the rise for superstardom before things suddenly went wrong right after he took the job at Niagara with some off-the-court transgressions. Beeline brings in Patrick, gets him back in, and then Pat Beeline's the next head coach. Pat can coach the ball now. Man, that would be kind of wild. That would be kind of wild. Oh man, I don't know. On the list of things that won't happen, it's probably that. But man, oh man, that'd be something. The machine for the movie with Tom Big, the machine from Big, or we could do that. Get the machine from Big. Yeah, it didn't quite go right for Pat at Niagara there. Greg Paulus has got to be getting fired at Niagara, isn't he? Like they haven't been good at all. They haven't been good at all. So yeah, Pat's been bouncing around here the last few years. He's been all over the damn place. Man, he looked to be on the fast track when he was at Lemoyne. He looked to be on the fast track when he was at Lemoyne, and boy howdy, did that go wrong in a hurry, in an absolute hurry. This is such an important hire. This is such an important hire. Like you can't overstate how important of a hire this is. You can't overstate it. If you get this wrong, man, you think about the college sports landscape right now. Like college sports is having presidential weird roundtables. College sports football, who knows what's going to happen with the future of it. Like we talked last year of how important it was when Fran Brown had that season to kind of reinsert Syracuse in the national football landscape. And then conversely, how this last season was when they quickly removed themselves from the national landscape. Syracuse right now, and not just Syracuse, every school in Syracuse position right now needs to show they are capable of winning games in football and needs to show they are capable of winning games in men's basketball. Women's basketball also great and whatever. Lacrosse, yeah, it's great. You need to show that you are legit in the mix in those two sports, both in success, both in finances. So whenever the next thing happens, that you are on the right side of the invitations. Because we don't know how long it's going to stay like this. And if you're in a fallow stage for either or, God forbid, both of those sports, then, yeah, you get it wrong, Kev. You're going to look at, and again, hold on to something. I don't know her. Look at what happened to the football team after G-Rub. It got so bad. And you talk about somebody that should have been fired sooner than he was. Like, him coming back for a fourth season was just, like, everybody knew it was done, and then there was a whole nother year. God, that last year was just misery. Like, Doug came in and methodically turned that program around, and pretty quickly, right? Doug Marrone, first year, struggle, complete roster overhaul, kicked a bunch of people off the team, whatever. Then 2 bowl games in 3 years, should have been 3-3, but they had the collapse in his second year. The fans, they came back a little. The fans didn't come back, not with any staying power. And then it slides a little bit under Schaefer. Everyone's gone again, right? Then Dino comes in, excitement, close your eyes, the whole thing, and then they build the Virginia Tech win, and then the Clemson win, and then 2018, the great season with Dungy, and it's like, oh, they're back, and you had the biggest amount of season tickets sold in forever for 2019, and then they go 5-7, everyone gets hurt, and then the COVID season's a disaster. Then it's just, even though they went to bowl games, like nobody cared the last few years of Dino for a long period, right? Like, look at Dino's second to last year. That was the year of the 6-0 start. Back-to-back sellouts, NC State and Notre Dame. And then you had 5-game losing streak. You had back-to-back sellouts, and people were back to not caring about that team by the end of the same season. People were back to not caring about that team. Excitement Fran's first year, fizzles out second year. It's been a 20-year haul to get people back to being excited in a consistent state about Syracuse football. Fran almost had it, and then the second year, the steam went out a little bit. We'll see what happens this coming season. Basketball is 5 years not knowing the NCAA tournament. Basketball is 5 years without the NCAA tournament. If the next hire doesn't work, and now you're 6, 7, 8, 9 years without the NCAA tournament, in an increasingly empty dome. The dome's uniqueness is cool when it's full. The dome's uniqueness is sad when it's empty. It's hard to recover from that in this day and age. This next hire is very, 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 very important. Goes without saying, but I shall say it anyway. With that, hey, we're not done today. We're done for now because I'm kind of hungry and it's the lunching hour. I feel sandwiches in my future. Or if you want to go to the Thompson Road Tavern, which is on your screen right now, where is it? Thompson Road? It's a Weck Wednesday. Go get the beef on Weck. It's beef. It's Weck. What's not to like? They kimmeled the Weck. They put it on the bread. They put the beef. You shove it in your face. It's fantastic. Anyway, tonight, this very night, we're not done talking about this today. For one, I finally got the eggnog cookies to Jordan. Like, finally. They may be stale now, like Red's tenure, but I finally got the eggnog cookies to Jordan, dropped them off this morning. TPS report, transfer portal Syracuse, tonight, 8 o'clock. Come back here for that. Tomorrow, we'll be live in the 315, a normally scheduled Thursday at 11. Our next edition of Who's Next will examine another possible candidate for the Syracuse job, even though we've also sort of sidewinded it down to two that have also already been discussed on Who's Next. We'll do a little no wrong answers. Lacrosse is at Air Force tomorrow night, so we'll get into all of that tomorrow. Them's the next two broadcasts here on the 315. Reminder, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Turn on the notifications, therefore you don't have to remember any of the things I just told you. Thanks for coming by here on this emergency Wednesday morning. Red has been fired live in the 315. We'll talk to you tonight at 8, tomorrow at 11.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.